was the hardest day of George's life as his mother's body got smaller and smaller and eventually disappeared. He never saw her again.
She said, "I will come take good care of your sister," which I then did through the following years somehow. And she said, "And I will come to Holland and we'll be a little happy family again."
The Kindertransport took the children to a concentration camp in the Netherlands, where a man from the Dutch underground convinced the Nazi commandant that George and Ursula were only half Jewish, which meant they were treated differently. Then they got on another train.
There was a transport of 1,300 kids from this first camp that were transported to Poland, in Poland, and to a camp called Sobibor, and they were all gassed. And there were 5 people left, kids left, in this first, and my sister and I were 2 of them.
George was able to fulfill the promise he made to his mother. He took care of his little sister the best he could. George later found out Lucy had been killed in a concentration camp somewhere in Poland. His father died weeks after Kristallnacht, when Jewish men were rounded up and taken to Nazi camps. That's where they were beaten and starved. The night is often referred to as the beginning of the Holocaust. George had an idyllic childhood up until then and remembers his mother vividly.
I remember that she was very lot of fun, very happy, musical.
6 years after their mother put them on the train, the children were liberated by the American Army. They made their way to Chicago after his mother's sister and her husband found them. Ursula and George were front-page news in the Chicago Daily Tribune. That was April 16, 1947. George was 17, Ursula was 12. And would you say you had a good life here?
Wonderful life.
George went to a reunion in 1995 of the children on the Kindertransport. That's when he decided to open up about his life and his losses. For George, his glass is always half full. He doesn't think his childhood was as difficult as others. And at 88, he believes he's still got a lot more life ahead of him.
I live to be 100.
Looks like you will.
I hope so.
George has been married to Katie for 63 years. They have 5 children, 15 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. George became a pharmacist. He retired in 2007. Today he speaks to school groups and other groups in hopes of keeping the awareness going of this big stain on history. He says that it is important for him to do that. He also wrote a book called Lucy's Hope about his mother.